less than 3% of Americans identify as Jewish. Sounds like a small group, right? Yet this community consistently, almost bafflingly, punches above its weight on every single wealth list you can find. We're not talking about a fluke here or some statistical anomaly. This isn't luck. This is a meticulously crafted, time-tested playbook passed down through generations. And tonight, we're not just glancing at it. We're flipping every single page, digging into the principles that have created enduring prosperity. Stick with me until the very end, because number 7, trust me, it's going to completely flip your conventional idea of retirement planning on its head. Look, I'm not here to stir up controversy or chase cheap clicks. My focus, my only focus, is to chase principles. The same rock-solid, unwavering principles that allowed families, often arriving with nothing but hope and a few worn suitcases from places like Ellis Island, to build legacies that span from humble beginnings to the tree-lined avenues of Park Avenue, sometimes in as little as 2 generations. No lottery tickets, no speculative crypto gambles, no get-rich-quick schemes, just foundational truths applied consistently. If you can copy even 3 of these secrets and truly integrate them into your life, I'm absolutely convinced your net worth graph will look dramatically different, far healthier 5 summers from now. Let's get into it. Secret number 1. Make money a dinner table topic before the kids can spell money. Most households, if we're being honest, save the money talk for an awkward conversation when a kid turns 18, or worse, when they're already deep in student loan debt. Big mistake. Huge. In many Jewish families, the conversation about finances starts practically as soon as a child can push a toy cash register or point at a shiny object in a store. It's not a taboo subject whispered behind closed doors. It's a natural, ongoing dialogue. Parents instinctively turn everyday scenarios into mini classrooms. Imagine this, a parent and child say, Avi in a grocery aisle. Avi, look here, the parent might say, holding up 2 brands of hummus. Same weight, right? But this one costs 40% more. Which one do you think gives us more chickpeas per penny? Is it worth paying extra for the fancy label? These aren't just idle questions, they're tiny, powerful exercises. They wire a young brain to equate spending with arithmetic, with logic, with careful consideration, not with impulsive emotion or fleeting desire. It's about instilling a foundational understanding of value and cost. This early immersion isn't just about budgeting, it's about building a robust financial vocabulary and mindset. By the time that child is 12, they might already be balancing a mock portfolio on an Excel sheet, understanding basic concepts of investment and risk. By 15, they're not just asking for a new phone, they're negotiating their first cell phone bill, understanding contracts and service plans. Think about the mental edge this creates. Compound that kind of practical, hands-on financial literacy over 20 years, and what do you get? You get an adult who sees every dollar not as a burden, not as something to be immediately spent, but as a soldier, a resource to be strategically deployed, to be put to work. This early, consistent financial education is a cornerstone of building wealth. It's more than just numbers, it's about character. It teaches discipline, patience, and the power of delayed gratification. It cultivates a sense of stewardship over resources, understanding that money is a tool, not an end in itself. Your move, starting tonight, it's simple yet profound. Bring a receipt to dinner, any receipt, and then casually ask the table, hey, looking at this, where do you think we could have kept $3 without losing any joy from this experience? Don't make it a lecture, make it a game, a discussion. Do it weekly. In a month, you'll start seeing that muscle memory forming, that natural inclination to think critically about every dollar. You're not just saving money, you're building a generation of financially intelligent, empowered individuals. Secret number 2. Treat entrepreneurship like a mitzvah, not a risk. Here's a perspective shift that's truly revolutionary. Traditional texts in this community often frame ownership not just as a right, but as a sacred stewardship of God-given property. Think about that. What's the practical translation? It means staying an employee forever, relying solely on someone else's payroll, is actually seen as the inherently riskier path. Why? Because you control zero capital, zero means of production, zero destiny. Your income, your security, your future all hinge on someone else's decisions. Entrepreneurship, then, isn't just an option, it's almost a moral imperative, a mitzvah, a good deed or commandment. It's about taking responsibility for your own provision and, by extension, having the means to provide for your family and community. This isn't some newfangled side hustle culture. This mindset is ancient. Go back to the old shtetl families in Eastern Europe. They weren't just farmers or shopkeepers, they were often running export businesses, operating taverns, weaving textiles simultaneously. They understood diversification and self-reliance long before modern business schools taught it. The modern echo of this is everywhere if you know where to look. It's the Brooklyn teacher who, after a full day in the classroom, tutors online, owns 2 vending machines strategically placed in local businesses, and buys a fractional share of a laundromat every June. She's not waiting for a single promotion. She's actively building multiple streams of income, creating her own economic security. And here's where the community aspect truly shines. How do these micro deals, these small entrepreneurial ventures get funded? Often through interest-free gemach circles. These are internal, community-based rotating credit funds that effectively cut bank fees and predatory interest rates to zero. It's a powerful example of group economics at play, where trust and mutual support supersede traditional financial institutions. Now, you might not have a gemach circle readily available, and that's okay. You don't need one to copy the mindset. The core principle is accessible to everyone. Start by making a list of 3 skills you possess that you've sold at some point. Maybe it was helping a neighbor with their garden, designing a flyer for a friend, or offering advice on a forum. Pick the least time-intensive one. Your goal? Aim for your first $100 profit from that skill this month. It's not about getting rich overnight. It's about proving to yourself, building that neural pathway that you can manufacture income on demand. And here's the kicker. Reinvest that $100 before you even think about buying new sneakers. Reinvest it into another tool, another course, another small venture. The goal isn't just the $100, it's the profound neural proof that you are an income generator, a creator of value, not just a consumer. This mindset shift is the true secret weapon. Secret number 3. Philanthropy first, not last. This one sounds completely backwards to most people, doesn't it? Give money away first? But let's unpack it. The Hebrew word tzedakah is often translated as charity, but its deeper, more accurate meaning is justice. It's not an act of optional generosity. It's a moral obligation, a fundamental part of a just world. Wealthy Jewish families, and indeed many families across the economic spectrum, embrace this principle by donating a significant percentage, often 10% or more, right off the top of their income. They do this even when the budget feels tight, even when it squeaks. Why? Because it's a core tenet. There's a powerful psychological trick at play here. When you give, especially when you give consistently and sacrificially, you're signaling abundance to your brain. You're telling your subconscious, I have enough and more than enough to share. This mental shift is profound. Instead of hoarding pennies out of fear, your brain, sensing abundance, starts actively hunting for opportunities. It becomes more open, more creative, more expansive in its thinking. It shifts from a scarcity mindset to a prosperity mindset. But the benefits aren't just psychological. Practically speaking, consistent, thoughtful donations weave you into incredibly powerful networks. Think about it.
The couple who consistently gives $200 monthly to the local scholarship fund isn't just anonymous donors. They're often invited to sit on the scholarship committee. Who else is on that committee? Perhaps a prominent real estate attorney who's always looking for reliable, trustworthy partners for new ventures, or a seasoned venture capitalist who respects their commitment and values.
Wealthy families have understood and utilized this lane for centuries. It's a sophisticated, often understated way to meet co-investors, attract clients, find mentors, and build genuine trust-based relationships that extend far beyond the immediate act of giving. It's a form of social capital that often generates financial capital many times over. This isn't about transactional giving. It's about authentic engagement and contributing to the well-being of the community, which, in turn, strengthens the ecosystem for everyone, including yourself. The Talmud teaches that generosity leads to prosperity, and history bears this out. Great Jewish families have been major philanthropists, supporting educational, cultural, and communal institutions globally, not just because it's good, but because it's integral to their financial philosophy. Your actionable step? Automate your giving. Set up a transfer for 10%, or whatever percentage feels right to start, of your income to any cause you deeply care about. Make it non-negotiable. The universe, in its mysterious ways, rarely leaves a giver's hand empty. You'll find that by focusing on contributing, you often create more channels for receiving. Secret number 4, live on 70% or less, no exceptions. This is what I like to call the invisible belt rule. To outsiders, the budgets of old money families often feel excruciatingly tight, almost Spartan. Why? Because the family literally never sees 30% of their income. It's gone before it even hits their spending account. This 30% isn't saved in the traditional sense. It's strategically allocated and redirected. Here's the breakdown. 10% for giving, tzedakah. As we just discussed, this is non-negotiable. It's an investment in community and a psychological signal of abundance. 10% for investing. This is dedicated to growing capital, building assets that generate income, and ensuring future security. And 10% for safe reserves. This is your emergency fund, your buffer against the unexpected, your dry powder for opportunities. This isn't about coupon clipping frugality, though that certainly has its place. It's about strategic redirection of cash. It's about prioritizing assets that appreciate and outpace inflation over depreciating liabilities. It's about building long-term wealth rather than succumbing to short-term desires. I remember interviewing an heir from a prominent family who, despite owning a multi-state warehouse operation worth 8 figures, still bought his shirts at Costco. The media, of course, loves to sensationalize the "rich guy shops at Costco" story, but they miss the point entirely. They see the shirt, they completely miss the warehouse. They focus on the trivial consumption habit and ignore the massive income-generating asset base. That heir understood that his wealth wasn't defined by his shirt, but by his ability to acquire and manage productive assets. This principle emphasizes that true wealth isn't about lavish spending. It's about freedom and security derived from accumulating productive assets. It's about having enough resources to weather any storm and seize any opportunity. It's a stark contrast to the modern consumer culture that often equates spending with success. How do you duplicate this? It's simpler than you think, but it requires discipline. On payday, set up 3 automatic transfers immediately following the deposit of your income. To your investment brokerage account, this is your wealth building engine. To your high-yield savings account, this is your safe reserve, your emergency buffer. And to your charity or designated giving fund. This fulfills your tzedakah obligation. Whatever's left after those 30% allocations, that is what you must live on. That's your 70%. It might feel restrictive at first, but within a year, you'll find something remarkable happens. You'll forget the lost 30%. Your spending habits will naturally adjust, and while you might forget it, your balance sheet certainly won't. It will be quietly, consistently, and powerfully growing, building a foundation of financial strength you never thought possible.
Secret number 5, build human capital before financial capital. Think about the educational rigor within many Jewish communities. A yeshiva education, for instance, isn't just a few hours a day. It averages 14 classroom hours daily, 6 days a week for 8 straight years. And the syllabus? It's not just rote memorization. It prioritizes intense logic, rigorous debate, critical analysis, and often multilingual literacy. The net result of this kind of intellectual crucible is profound. Graduates enter college not just with academic knowledge, but with an unparalleled capacity for critical thinking, problem solving, and negotiation. They're able to dissect complex contracts, understand intricate legal documents, and articulate arguments with precision, while their peers might still be struggling to fill out basic FAFSA forms. This isn't just about accumulating facts, it's about developing mental agility and intellectual horsepower. This focus on relentless, continuous learning is the community's real compound interest. It's the understanding that the greatest asset you possess isn't your bank account, but your mind and your skills. Human capital is the only asset that never deflates in a recession, cannot be stolen, and appreciates with every hour you invest in it. So, how do you translate this into your own life? It's about intentional, consistent skill development. Dedicate 30 minutes every single morning before the world gets noisy to focusing on one dense, high-value skill. This isn't about scrolling social media, it's about deliberate practice and study. It could be coding, mastering copywriting, delving into tax law, learning advanced data analytics, or becoming proficient in a new language relevant to your field. Whatever it is, choose something that directly compounds your main income stream or opens up new ones. Imagine the cumulative effect. After 500 mornings, which is roughly 2 years of consistent, focused effort, you won't just be dabbling. You'll command higher fees, higher salaries, and more respect, often without needing extra formal credentials. Your expertise will speak for itself. Your human capital, your intellectual and practical abilities will become your most powerful, most resilient asset. It's an investment with guaranteed returns, and it's something no market crash can ever take away from you. If these first 5 secrets have already started to rewire your view of money, if they've sparked a new way of thinking, then please take a moment to tap that like button. It tells the algorithm that other hungry minds out there need to hear these principles. And while you're at it, drop a comment below and tell me, which secret are you going to try implementing before the sun rises twice? Seriously, pick one and commit. Then hit subscribe, because future you, with that fatter brokerage account and newfound financial clarity, will absolutely thank present you for making that small click. Secret number 6. Marry and partner with shared financial DNA. Look, romance is wonderful. It's the stuff of movies and poetry. But when it comes to building lasting wealth, especially multi-generational wealth, balance sheet chemistry is, quite frankly, wealth nitro. It's the accelerant that can either propel you forward or drag you down. In many wealthy Jewish families, screening potential matches isn't just about shared values or personality traits. It's intensely focused on attitudes toward debt, tzedakah, giving, and business risk. It might sound unromantic, but it's incredibly pragmatic. Why? Because a spouse who needs luxury anchors, who consistently prioritize immediate gratification and lavish spending, can sink even billion-dollar ventures. We've all seen the cautionary tales in the tabloids, the celebrity divorces where empires crumble under the weight of financial incompatibility and conflicting spending habits. The reality is, money is the leading cause of stress and divorce for a reason. If your financial visions clash, if one person is a saver and the other a spendthrift, if one sees money as a tool for investment and the other as a means to acquire status symbols, then love, no matter how strong, often won't outrun the cold, hard math. The constant friction, the resentment, the diverging goals will inevitably erode the partnership. A partnership whether in marriage or business, where their shared financial DNA is a powerful force multiplier. It means every raise isn't immediately earmarked for a nicer couch or a fancier car. It's seen as a potential down payment on an income-generating property, an investment in a new venture, or an acceleration of a shared financial goal. It means you're both pulling in the same direction, strategically aligning your resources. So, before you propose, before you commit to a long-term partnership, have the uncomfortable but absolutely essential conversations. Swap credit reports. Discuss your 3-year, 5-year, and 10-year financial goals. Talk about your philosophy on debt, saving, investing, and giving. Understand each other's relationship with money, their upbringing, their fears, and their aspirations. If those visions clash fundamentally, it's not just a red flag, it's a flashing neon sign. Aligning your financial destinies is one of the most critical steps to building a prosperous future together.
Secret number 7, create multi-generational trusts, not just wills. Most people think about a basic will. A will is simple. It divides your stuff after you die. It's a snapshot, a one-time event. But truly wealthy families, those focused on multi-generational prosperity, think far beyond that. They create trusts, and not just any trusts, but often dynasty trusts, paired with ethical wills. What's the difference? A trust, particularly a well-structured one, doesn't just divide assets, it conditions behavior across lifetimes. It's a living document that sets out terms and conditions for how wealth is managed, distributed, and even earned by future generations. An ethical will, on the other hand, is a non-binding letter or document that explains the values, history, and philanthropic legacy of the family, guiding heirs not just in what they inherit, but how they should think about and steward that inheritance. Monies from these trusts might unlock for specific wealth-building purposes, funding higher education, providing a down payment for a first home, or offering seed capital for a business equity investment. But critically, they typically don't unlock for depreciating toys like luxury cars or designer clothes. The mechanism is designed to keep fortunes inside bloodlines or dedicated to charitable causes, rather than seeing them squandered or lost to probate courts, excessive taxes, or frivolous spending. This isn't just for the ultra-rich. You don't need dynasty-level capital to start thinking this way. Even a relatively modest sum, say $25,000, can be placed into a low-cost trust fund today, earmarked for something like your toddler's first investment property at age 21. The power here lies in 2 factors: time and protected capital. Time allows compounding to work its magic, and protected capital ensures that the money isn't prematurely accessed or frittered away by less disciplined hands. Imagine the head start this gives future generations. They're not starting from zero, they're starting with a protected, growing asset base that's designed to facilitate further wealth creation, not just consumption. This long-term vision and legal protection are paramount for ensuring that wealth doesn't just accumulate, but endures and grows through the ages, creating a true legacy. Secret number 8. Use group economics like oxygen. This secret is often overlooked in our hyper-individualistic society, but it's incredibly powerful. Think about it. When 10 families pool their grocery orders, they gain the leverage to negotiate wholesale prices, bypassing retail markups. When 50 families collectively boycott a vendor who's charging exorbitant prices, those prices drop. This isn't just theory, it's a historical reality. Enclaves within Jewish communities have historically funded their own hospitals, established their own banks, and even developed entire neighborhoods without relying on external loans or traditional financial institutions. The strength came from within, from collective action and mutual support. The modern hack? It's simpler than you'd think. Form a WhatsApp circle with trusted friends, family, or neighbors. Use it for bulk buying everyday necessities. Imagine splitting a pallet of diapers,
a massive container of cleaning products, or even pooling funds to buy larger blocks of index fund shares, potentially reducing individual transaction costs. But it's not just about saving money on goods. Rotate the negotiation duty among group members. Everybody gets a chance to learn deal-making, to research vendors, to haggle for better terms. It's a practical, hands-on masterclass in financial literacy and business acumen. As costs shrink for everyone, a side perk emerges. Every member's credit score, their supplier list, their Rolodex of valuable contacts, and their overall financial intelligence multiply in lockstep. This isn't just about financial gains. It's about building social capital, strengthening communal bonds, and creating a supportive ecosystem where everyone benefits. It's about leveraging the power of we to achieve what I could never accomplish alone. This principle of group economics is as vital as the air we breathe for sustained communal and individual prosperity.
Secret number 9, schedule nothing time for big thinking. In the fast-paced, always-on world we live in, this secret feels almost rebellious. Talmudic scholars, for centuries, blocked out dedicated hours for shiur, intense, focused study with absolutely zero immediate output or quantifiable deliverable. It wasn't about deadlines, it was about deep contemplation, intellectual exploration, and profound understanding. Wall Street's top fund managers, many of whom come from this very background, quietly copied this habit. They carve out Friday afternoons, or perhaps a few hours every Monday morning, specifically for what they call reading widely and thinking long-term. During this sacred block of time, there's no pursuit of inbox zero, no frantic checking of Slack pings, no endless meetings. It's a deliberate disconnection from the immediate demands of the day-to-day. The result? They spot trends months, sometimes even years before they hit the mainstream news cycle. They develop a strategic foresight that allows them to make incredibly prescient decisions, positioning themselves and their clients for massive gains. They're not just reacting to the market, they're anticipating it. How can you apply this? Block out one evening a week. Leave your phone in the kitchen, turn off notifications, and physically remove yourself from distractions. Then ask yourself profoundly challenging questions. What will truly matter in 5 years that absolutely nobody is talking about right now? Or, what fundamental shifts are happening in my industry that I'm currently ignoring? Don't just think about it, write. Force yourself to fill 3 pages with your thoughts, your observations, your nascent ideas. This isn't about solving an immediate problem, it's about cultivating strategic awareness. Even if only one idea a quarter emerges from this nothing time, that single insight can repay your hour-long investment tenfold, 100-fold, or even more. It's about nurturing the fertile ground for innovation and foresight, allowing your mind the space it needs to connect disparate ideas and see the bigger picture. It's an investment in your most valuable asset, your strategic thinking capacity. Secret number 10. Measure wealth in options, not dollars. This might be the most paradigm-shifting secret of all. Most people measure wealth in dollars, the balance in their bank account, the value of their investments. But truly wealthy individuals, those who understand enduring prosperity, measure wealth in options. An option in this context is the right, not the obligation, to act. Think about it. Cash piled up in a checking account, while seemingly secure, buys you 0 options beyond basic spending. It's passive. But that same cash, when strategically converted, perhaps into a convertible note in a promising startup, or into a down payment on a piece of real estate, or used to acquire a skill that opens new doors, buys you thousands of potential options. Families teach their heirs to optimize for freedom of choice, the freedom to decide where to live, which projects to fund, when to walk away from toxic deals or unproductive situations, when to pivot careers, or when to launch a new venture. This kind of freedom is the ultimate luxury, and it's directly correlated with the number and quality of options you've built for yourself.
Here's a test you can run tonight. List out last month's discretionary purchases. Now, for each one, try to convert that expenditure into a potential option. Could that money have bought a stock call option? Could it have contributed to a real estate wholesaling contract? Could it have funded an online course that unlocks a new income skill? When you start viewing every price tag not just as a cost, but as a lost possibility, a potential option foregone, it flips your spending habits faster and more effectively than any budgeting app ever could. You stop seeing a new gadget as a want and start seeing it as a missed opportunity to create a new revenue stream, a new skill, or a new path to freedom. This shift in perspective transforms you from a consumer of goods into a creator of opportunities. And that, my friends, is the true essence of enduring wealth. So there you have it. 10 secrets distilled from centuries of wisdom that have consistently built and preserved wealth across generations. But here's the stark reality. They're only secrets because most people never bothered to truly understand or apply them. They remain hidden in plain sight. The real power isn't in knowing them, it's in doing them. So don't just let this be another video you watched. Pick 2 of these principles tonight. Seriously, maybe it's automating the 70% rule, making that immediate shift in how your money is allocated. Or perhaps it's simply starting that dinner table money talk with your kids, making finance a natural, ongoing conversation. Momentum, my friends, compounds faster than interest. The sooner you start, the more profound the impact. Drop a comment below right now and tell me which 2 secrets you're committing to implement. And if you found this valuable, smash that like button. If you want a follow-up video diving deeper into how to set up your first trust fund with under $1,000, let me know. And of course, subscribe so you don't miss the next playbook drop. See you in the next one. And may your balance sheet be stronger than your coffee tomorrow morning.